Ruselli Northern supports upstate New York construction with over 400 employees, 250 trucks, 9 ready-mix plants, 4 blacktop plants, and 40 aggregate mines. But their most important number is your bottom line. Contact them today to see why Ruselli Northern has been the choice for contractors and project managers across upstate New York since 1929.
Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the FL1 Betting Preview here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Sinicropi, and Kyle Evans here with you. We take a look back at our Week 17 bet card, the weekend finale, regular season finale of the NFL, Week 18, and the College Football Playoff Championship. So, we have made it through. How about Monday night, guys? A couple of really good games overall. I'd say we got lucky in the semifinal this year.
Yeah, they were great football games. A little late on the last day of vacation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I took the under in the first game, and that went to overtime, and that kind of doing me there. The under is the enemy of the overtime is the enemy of the under better.
Yes.
And then second game, I know when we had our show last week, I didn't take a position on it, but I ended up going Washington on the money line, so that worked out. Had to stay up late for it, though.
Yeah, just a little bit. Worth it, though, in the end, I'd say. I know I was with Washington, so we'll see that. Kyle, how about you? I know you're on more of the NFL side of things, so I know you're a bit thrilled with it. Buffalo at least surviving, getting a win, and not quite, but, more or less in their own control of their playoff outlook.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun weekend. I think I'm going to put quite a bit of money on the Bills overall. Maybe even throw some money on winning the Super Bowl. I think it's plus 800 right now. The third best odds, which is, again, crazy because if they lose, they're out.
Yeah, I got the Browns plus 4,600 from a couple weeks ago. And we'll see. Like I say, not exactly predicting them to win the Super Bowl, but if they can get to the AFC Championship game, I'd have some options for sure. But Bills scared me this weekend against Miami. I've been thinking about it since we did our Bills show. And, the Bills barely beat the Chargers, and then they get the Patriots at home, and it's just a very important game, and they came out kind of flat and let the Patriots stick around to the end. Miami has looked bad, but, man, Buffalo hasn't looked too great either. So, I don't know. That's going to be a good game to watch Sunday night, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's literally just injuries for Miami is going to be the difference. I don't think the defense is going to be able to, keep up with the Bills' offense, even though, like you mentioned, they haven't scored a ton against two bad defenses overall. So I can see where you're a little concerned, but I still think they get it done.
I think they do too, honestly. I just don't have a lot of confidence just given – because, against the Chargers, you thought, okay, time to come out and handle the Chargers easily. They almost lost that game. Then this game today, or this week against Miami, wouldn't mean anything. They'd be done, out. And then you come back at home and you got the Patriots, and you think it'll be a two-score game at least, Bills win, but they let Patriots hang around, kind of snuck by again against two of the worst teams in the league. And so now they got Miami in Miami, and people forget it's just as big a game for Miami. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit bigger for the Bills because if they lose, they might not get in the playoffs. But
should also note a half hour ago, Jalen Waddle left the practice with a trainer. Tyreek Hill was not practicing. Raheem Mostert was not practicing.
Yeah,
and neither was Xavier Howard. So
Yeah.
not only is the defense banged up, now the offense. Tyreek Hill was in a walking boot yesterday when he was spotted, when his house caught on fire.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, I think they're really, their injuries might catch up to them.
Well, if Hill and Waddle don't play and are at least like 75%, that is a huge bonus for the Bills for sure, especially Hill.
Yeah. All right, let's check back at our Week 17 bet card here quickly. Tim, your first 0 for 3 week. You now join the likes of me and Kyle, unfortunately. So you almost made it to the end of the line without having one happen, but it did catch up to you, unfortunately.
Well, like I say, that Bama-Michigan game, I had it right. It was under, but then it went to overtime. They don't, and so that's a loss. That happens. Way wrong on the Dolphins, which never feels good, and the Bucks a little unlucky.
Yeah, me and you were we got Atlanta Falcons, as I've been calling it, more or less. Yeah, Buccaneers, I don't know, and I don't want to give too much away, but you know, I do have my eye on them again for this week, so hopefully they turn that around. But the Washington Huskies, not the Commanders, but the Washington Huskies +4, cash that one, win outright. Give underdogs again this week even.
Just two picks there for you this week?
Yeah, because of the bank issue. So
Oh, I see.
being
Gotcha.
at was at 2 last week, still at 2 this week. So what are you gonna do, Kyle? Though you had the best week out of all of us. 2 out of 3 there for you. Your only miss coming on that over in that Detroit Dallas game.
What a weird game that was. I kind of just knew the over was dead after the first quarter. You know, a little bit of controversy at the end with the whole reporting eligible thing. But even if, you know, that was different, the over still wouldn't have hit. So, I don't know. Games like that happen where you think it's, you know, two struggling defenses are going to give up a lot of points, and the opposite happens, as we saw with Philly and KC earlier in the year. So, you know, I'll take back-to-back 2-1 weeks. And hopefully,
Yeah, we're even now.
yeah, hopefully 3-0 in the final regular season week.
We'll come down to the regular season week there for the regular season championship between you two, I suppose. How about that?
Well, and then we got playoffs still.
Right.
Through the Super Bowl.
That's why I said the regular season championship.
Yep.
You know. Let's get into that college football championship game first here a little bit. Washington versus Michigan. I heard somebody describe it, and I couldn't think of a better way after I thought about it, but this is like a 1990s championship game in a way, at least the school-wise anyway. Washington, Michigan. Washington currently down to being a 4.5-point underdog, opened at 5, but down to 4.5 today. Over-under of 55.5 in this game at the moment. Definitely what I would call a battle on opposite sides of the ball here. Michigan's defense against Washington's offense. So which one will prevail and break through? I don't know. I think for me personally, I'd like to see the Washington offense prevail and the Huskies win the title. But I don't know. This is going to be really good. This is the first time, I believe it's since 2014, since no SEC team is at least in the championship game as well. Haven't been able to say that a super ton in recent memory. So that's pretty exciting that we got battle of the Pac-12 one last time and Big Ten one last time before both these teams end up in the Big Ten next year.
Yeah, which is stupid, but
Yeah.
anyway, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good not to see Alabama or Georgia in there, for sure. But yeah, I like Washington, honestly. I think Texas beat Alabama. Washington beat Texas. They kind of let them in at the end, gave them a chance at the end of that game. But I think there's no defense out there that's going to stop the Washington offense. They're just, the quarterback's too good, the receivers are too good. And, you know, Michigan's played a relatively soft schedule in comparison. The Pac-10 was kind of up this year in their final year. You know, Michigan beat Alabama. Didn't look like they were ever in control, though, did it? You know, it kind of looked like Alabama was going to win that game. Harbaugh's a great coach, but at the end of the day, I just think this Washington team's the best team. And I think they're going to be hard to stop. I think that Michigan doesn't really move the ball very well. They didn't against Alabama. So I'm really feel good about Washington. I'm probably going to take them on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, now it's not part of my 2 picks I get to make this week, but I'm all about Washington again. This is now the 3rd big game for them in a row, going back to the Pac-12 title game. to the semifinal last week in the Rose Bowl. Now the championship
Underdogs
game.
against
Underdog.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Nobody gives this team respect.
No, and I think, like I said, I think, and I'm with you, Jim, this offense is really good. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again here. If Rome Aduzier was in Ohio State and his name happened to be Marvin Harrison Jr., I think the talk around him would be way more different than it is. I think Aduzier is the best wide receiver in the country. I do not care what anybody says about the Harrison argument. I think Aduzier is better. And just the complete package with Penix, and it remains to be seen what happens with Dylan Johnson, the running back, if he's going to be fully and ready to go. But that offense, it's a trifecta of really good players who make really big plays. And I think I think Washington, I think there's value whether you want to do it on the spread, specifically the money line. I think you can't go wrong either way in this case, So that's where I lean. The over-under is interesting. Numerically speaking, you got Washington who went over a ton this year. You have Michigan who went under a lot this year. So I don't know. I think 55.5 is a tricky number. I think ultimately that's going to be the one spot if you do bet that way. Wait as long as you can, because I would hope people maybe hit the under a little bit on that one and it comes down a little bit.
I think it'll go over, but I'm not going to bet that.
I don't know. I'm not kidding. I think
Washington's defense
55 is a lot in this game.
It is a lot, but you got to assume that Washington's going to score, which means that Michigan should be able to score a little bit as well against Washington. I mean, but I'm not going to touch the over under.
Yeah.
I do if you force me, I'd take the over.
All right.
Yeah, for me, I'm taking Washington money line, and I'm going to do the under. I think it just goes under. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with that, and it should be a good one Monday night.
What time's kickoff?
7:35.
Wow, that's something different.
About
Huh?
that.
Yep.
Good.
I think it's in Houston this year, so NRG Stadium. But I'm with you though I'm not touching the over under. I know people who that's the only way they bet. I think it's a bit psycho, but to each their own, obviously. So yeah, I guess at this point we'll congratulate Michigan on winning the title then, since we all went Washington. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. Let's touch on that NFL regular season finale this week. Before we get into our picks, not to say that it's chaos, but this week is always one of the trickier weeks. Whatever, if you even want to go back to the 16-game schedule a few years ago at this point, right, where the final week, if people are clinched, you don't know who's going to sit, who's going to play, how much they're going to play, and a lot of the lines this week kind of show that. There's a lot of tough lines this week. I know the one for me that sticks out. And it's only because I think there's nothing really to kind of do with this game in a way, but Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 7-point favorite with the Browns starting Jeff Driscoll at quarterback and allowing Joe Flacco to have a week of rest. So there's stuff like that where even then, like, I look at it and my brain is still telling me, like, I think I'd still roll the Browns there. But when it comes to betting, I just don't know if that's the smartest play in the world.
I wouldn't
obviously.
touch it. I don't know why you rest Flacco anyways. He's had the whole year to rest.
It's true.
Good point.
He don't need to rest. He probably needs to get some more reps. But, yeah, the big one for me is the Steelers-Ravens.
Right.
There's a game where, Lamar Jackson's not going to start. But, on the other hand, when Huntley's had to play, he's been good. And the Ravens are pretty deep. That's one reason why they've been so successful this year, overcoming injuries, because they are deep on both sides of the ball. And you think about it, you got guys getting a chance to play more than they normally do, and they're going to come ready to play, and they're trying to show what they can do for their contracts. And Pittsburgh's not that good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm personally not going to bet any games that really don't mean anything, because there are too many intangibles. But if there was one, I think I would stick with the Ravens there. And of course, Bills fans will have an eye on that game.
Yeah, actually, despite there being so many backups playing this week, I just looked. There's still 4 division titles up for grabs. So there's still going to be a lot of excitement and, some good games this weekend.
Well, those are the games to bet, I think. The games where there is something on the line. Both teams are going to be trying to win and not get anybody hurt.
For example, the NFC East, Eagles, Cowboys 11-5.
Yeah, the Eagles need a win badly.
Yeah, but the Baltimore one's the same thing because like my brain's telling me even though that they're an underdog, like they're playing Mason Rudolph. Like
Yeah.
And he's looked
it's
good.
not like Pitt.
So shouldn't he be due for a bad? No. I'm gonna finish my point. He's looked good. So shouldn't this be the game where he falls off?
Just like
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs and everybody else, it
Right.
makes a quick splash.
Yeah,
Yep. Everyone's back in on the Steelers for the last 2 weeks, but
I'm not.
now they're gonna maybe do what they normally do,
Yes, exactly. 100%.
especially against the Ravens. Haven't the Ravens been pretty good against them the last few years?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, you guys are pretty spot on. I know for me, my two picks, both in the NFL this week, and they're in games that matter because at least you know the full lay of the land, right? For the most part, you know that there's going to be no no playing time shenanigans because everybody's, for the most part, everybody's playing at the same time this week when their other stuff is happening. Now, that's not the case everywhere, but for the most part, that is the case. So, you know, there's barring people coming down and being told like somebody's up 38-0 with 2 minutes left in the fourth, you know, there won't be any shenanigans there. So, all right. Other than that, I think we could probably get into our picks at this point if you guys want. Kyle, the floor is yours this week once again. So whenever you're ready, have at it.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with that Saturday night game. I'm going to take the Texans -1.5 against the Colts. They lost the first matchup against them way back in September.
Yep.
CJ Stroud's back, just like what I'm seeing. And then my second pick is going to be Buccaneers -4.5 at Carolina. That's a game where, you know, if they win the NFC South. I think they'll come out and play very well against a bad Carolina team. Then my final pick, I'm going to roll with the Bills, -3 at Miami. Again, same situation. You win your division. Too many injuries, like I've said with the Dolphins. Bills get it done.
All right. Jim, you're up.
You can go ahead.
You want me to go?
Yeah, because
All
I
right.
got a couple. I won't double up.
Well, unfortunately for me, I'm doubling up here no matter what with Kyle. Because I'm locked in with the Texans -1.5 and Buccaneers -4.5 as well.
Really?
Yeah. I know the Buccaneers got us both last week, but you know, I have a hard time believing they would lose to the Carolina Panthers at least outright. You know, in that space.
And they were no-show last week.
Exactly.
So.
And for the Texans situation, the CJ Stroud factor for me is the big X factor here. If he was out, I actually would probably still take the game, but the other way with Indianapolis. But with him back in, I think the Texans are. I don't know about slam dunk, but for me personally, they're as close to a slam dunk as we can get. So those are my two.
I'm with you guys with the Bucks. It's not going to be one of my picks, but it was going to be before both you guys took it. But the thing about that I'm going to do with that game is it 4.5 or 5.5?
4.5. I found it at 4.5 this afternoon before.
Yeah, I'm going to tease it over to like -6.5. I think it could be a blowout.
Yeah. And
so I'm just going to take the better odds and get it up to just shy of a touchdown, and it'll probably be able to get that at, plus 130, 140 maybe.
Yeah.
But that won't be my pick for the show here. First of all, I'm going with Washington plus 4.5 is one of my picks. Washington Huskies, not the Commanders.
You're a wise man.
I'll take the points for the purpose of our show, but I'm going to bet them on the money line Monday night. Bears plus 3.5 at the Packers at
All right.
Lambeau Field.
Spoiler time.
Yeah, I mean the Bears have been playing good. The Packers, not really. They haven't played a good offense in several weeks.
Green
and
Bay
the defense giving up big points to Carolina, Tampa Bay, and the Giants.
Is Green Bay winning in?
Yeah.
Yeah, Green Bay needs it. But you don't think that Justin Fields is playing for his job and that the Bears want to spoil it for the Packers. So it's a bigger game for the Packers, which is one reason why I think the Bears are getting 3.5 points, because if you just look at what's been going on in the field the past few weeks, I got to say Chicago looks like a better football team to me. And there's some injuries going on both sides of the ball for Green Bay as well. So I got Bears 3.5 plus 3.5, and then I said I wasn't going to bet a game that didn't have any implications, but I'm going to anyways. I'm taking the Patriots -2 at the Jets. It might be Bill Belichick's last game in New England. I don't see him losing to the Jets. The Jets are awful. Who knows who's going to be quarterback? It's not going to be Zach Wilson, I don't think.
No.
And look what the Patriots did against the Bills last week in Highmark. I mean, I think they win one for Belichick.
Off on the high note. Yeah, that game was tough for me to pick, honestly, because me and Nick do the pick 'em head-to-head against each other every week. And, yeah, I mean, I like the logic, though. I mean, the thing that scares me about New England is if Bailey Zappi has another start like he did against Buffalo.
Even if he does, is he going to be outdone by the Jets offense?
Probably not. That's a good point.
I don't know, but the theme of this year in the NFL has been what you think is going to happen doesn't happen.
Right.
So I don't want to be too confident about anything, but I do. I don't see Belichick running off that field for potentially the last time with a loss.
Yeah. I almost went with that. I was exactly with your point. I don't know who's going to start for the Jets. I just looked. They haven't named a starter. And even if they do name one, we've seen how bad it. Remember that Black Friday game?
Where Boyle started?
Yeah, and how bad that was against the Dolphins. I mean, nothing works right for them. And they have Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and they still struggled sometimes, even score touchdowns.
They waived Dalvin Cook this week. He never really caught on with them. I mean, that was a big news trade this summer, and he was awful.
Yeah, he's still being interesting. I know this is obviously betting, but we'll do a little inside baseball, I guess, here in a way on this one. It'll be interesting to see who picks up Dalvin Cook for the playoffs, because the NFL, other sports have the rules, right, where you have to meet certain playing criteria to be eligible for the playoffs. The NFL doesn't quite have that.
Wait, so the trade deadline's passed, though, but they waived him, so he can be signed?
Yeah, so as long as he clears waivers, I've seen and heard Kansas City apparently is the leading candidate to bring him in for the playoffs.
Jeez,
so
that's kind of a shot to Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I know.
And Jarrett McKinnon.
Which is wild, but.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's played decent.
Yeah.
But look, I don't think that Dalvin Cook's any good anymore. Like, Breece Hall was able to put up numbers behind that Jets line, and Dalvin Cook wasn't. I had him on my fantasy team. I drafted him thinking, wow, Dalvin Cook. Maybe Breece Hall coming off that injury will struggle, get injured again. It'll be Dalvin Cook's team. But worst case scenario, they'll split time because he's Dalvin Cook. And he was awful.
Yeah.
He was awful.
30 minutes ago, NFL Network reports that the Ravens, Dolphins, 49ers, and Cowboys are the leading candidates to sign Dalvin Cook.
So much for the Chiefs then yesterday, I guess. Damn.
Well, let's see what happens.
And obviously, Michael Irvin, 10 minutes ago on his show, is pushing for
The Cowboys. Surprising.
Well, why wouldn't the Jets have traded him before the deadline?
Oh, I'm guessing because he was getting used, I remember, about that time still. Like,
What, is a guy you could hand the ball to
Right.
and he'd get tackled after 1.5 yard gain? I mean, it doesn't make sense if you're the Jets. If he's a commodity, you should have got rid of him. And when you could get something, maybe you get a 4th round draft pick for him.
I don't disagree, It's a lot like on the baseball side this past year, me and Kyle know. I mean, when the Angels started trading for people only to throw them back into the waiver wire 3 weeks later, what's going on here, So I'm with you there at least,
Well, it's too bad the Jets cut Dalvin Cook, because if he, this final week, just rushed for 1,080 yards, he would have got a $400,000 bonus.
Anything's possible. That would be nuts, though. Like, could you? I don't know.
It's not. That would never happen.
No.
I think the NFL record is. Didn't Icky Woods run for like over 300 yards once?
Someone like that, yeah. Kyle, do you know who Icky Woods is?
I don't.
Okay, that's. Kyle.
Icky Shuffle.
The Icky Shuffle. Yep. Bengals, 90. He had a short career though. Not to dilute this out, right? He had a shorter career in the NFL, I think.
The record for one game is Adrian Peterson in 2007, 296 rushing yards.
Oh wow, who's second?
The San Diego Chargers.
You got a list there? Just for...
Yep, the second was, who's this? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, Jamal Lewis, 2003.
Yeah. Ravens.
Yep, 295. Jerome Harrison's third, 286. Corey Dillon's fourth, 278. And then we'll stop at fifth, Walter Payton, 275.
Wow. Walter
Maybe
Payton's the only
Icky-
one not from the so-called, modern second half of the modern era.
Yes, yeah. Maybe Icky was the college record.
No, I don't know why I thought it was
Maybe.
Icky Woods, but if anybody's got a college record, it's probably Barry Sanders.
No, no. I think I actually do know who it is. I think it's Kyle. I may be wrong. I see you typing away over there. Is it Jarrett Patterson from UB from Buffalo? Isn't it him?
No,
It's not.
it's Oklahoma's Samaje Perine.
Oh,
2014
Still active in the
Yeah.
NFL.
against Kansas, 427 yards.
gee, that is gross.
That
And
is
it
crazy.
was set just the week before by Wisconsin's Melvin Gordon.
Oh, Melvin Gordon, who's still in the league. I learned Melvin Gordon was still in the league this past weekend, by the way. Is that bad?
Is he with the Broncos?
Ravens.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Paul, for your
Yeah.
stat, Jarrett Patterson had 409 in 2020.
How about that? Maction. All right, now we're diving into trivia time and everything, so we should probably punctuate the show on that note at that point.
So when we come back next week, no more college football, just NFL playoff.
Yeah.
And so in the wild card round, there will be how many games?
6.
6? Yeah, so I'll be picking 3 of 6 games.
Mhm.
It'll be different. You won't have the whole breadth of the college and pro worlds to choose from. It'll be a lot more focused.
How about it? Kyle was spared from.
Maybe we should pick
My
them all going forward. Maybe it should be
Yeah.
our own
Maybe.
set of playoffs.
Sure, yeah, I'm with that.
So 2 Saturday games, 3 Sunday games, and that Monday night game. That's the layout for wild card weekend.
How about it? And
Times.
we'll know everything by this time next week. So
Yep, it should be a
About
good weekend. A lot different than the past several weekends throughout the fall, where you had full slates on Saturday and Sunday. And Monday, it's going to be slimmed down a little bit, but each of the games are going to mean a lot more.
Yep.
And,
Last Sunday with Scott Hansen.
that's true.
yeah, and it's kind of a boring one in a way. Most
What's the
fantasy
layout?
football leagues are done, but
I have a PSA on that. If you have your championship week in fantasy in week 18, you are part of a psychotic league, and I want no part of you.
it doesn't make sense to do it like that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're even tempting fates with 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but
good point.
it didn't really come into play this year.
No.
But there's been years where teams have had their position clinched with 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the layout, though. Like I said on Monday, 6 and 7. And then, you can just watch the Bills game by itself. You don't have to worry about other games going on and missing what's going on. Just right there on Sunday night.
Yep, I know. I can't wait for Sunday night. That is going to be a great game to watch. The eyes of the country are going to be on it. And the Bills will know by the time that ball is kicked if they need it to get in the playoffs or not, which they very well might need to win to be in. Buffalo Bills fans could go to sleep on Sunday night, having their season could be over.
And I've seen a lot of people have been saying this on social media. Wouldn't the Ravens actually be okay with losing this game to let the Steelers in rather than the Bills?
Well, that's what I was thinking too, but man, that's a tough thing to do in the NFL. You're really tempting fate, and if you're saying, we don't want to play the Bills, like what have the Bills done this year that's so great compared to the Ravens?
And I'm going to use a bit of the philosophy I had with, even though it's not the same in this way, the way we're talking, but I'm going to use the same philosophy I have talking about like the Pistons when they were losing 27 straight games. It's not like the players are going out there to lose. So you still have to go out there and perform on the field, or maybe lack thereof, if the Ravens were to lose.
Yeah, I don't see anybody trying
Right,
to lose, but
That's my thing with that. I don't see the Ravens purposely tanking one game of sort. You know what I mean?
nobody was interested in the Jaguars game. Now there's a team that's got to win to win the division, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't like them at the -5, 5.5.
Well, their main issue is they'll know by the time they go into that game whether or not they even need to do anything because of the Colts-Texans game. Because depending upon the outcome of the Colts-Texans, they can be locked in at that point.
Is the AFC South champions?
Yes.
Yeah, and so then if the Jags do lose and the Texans win, the Texans get the South.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a possibility. I just don't think Jacksonville is going to lose.
No.
But
Either way, it's one of those games where just because of, like I said, there's most of the games are all together at the same time, but some of them aren't, and that's one of the cases that they aren't. So,
Something I didn't know about the Steelers real quick. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Really?
Yeah, they're 0-3
Yeah.
and lost 2 straight wild card games and then a divisional round game.
A lot of other franchises have changed their coach during that long of a span. But, that's one thing you gotta love about the Steelers in Pittsburgh is they stick with their guys.
Well, it's one thing I don't. They should fire Mike Tomlin.
I don't know. I mean,
I'll go ahead and say it. I will put Mike Tomlin on my personal hot seat.
And a weird stat about Lamar Jackson, 1-3 in the playoffs. I just never guessed that. The only win coming against Tennessee in 2 years ago.
They're upset last year against Tennessee. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Where they were top seed and
Yep.
Tennessee upset them.
Lost to Buffalo in that game that he left injured, Lamar. Some weird playoff stats here.
That's your MVP.
It's up for grabs in the AFC. It really is. It really is up for grabs. Anybody that's in the playoffs can get to the Super Bowl. I really believe that. The NFC, I don't see anybody going through the 49ers, seeing that they're going to have to go to Candlestick Park or wherever they play now. It's not
Levi Stadium in Santa Clara.
There you go. Yeah, it's not Candlestick anymore, but they're going to have to go into the 49ers home field for a AFC championship game
The ghosts
or
of
NFC championship game.
Ronnie Lott and Willie Mays.
Roger
Whoever
Craig.
next. Yeah.
Willie Mays, yeah. Willie McCovey.
There you go. Yeah. Will
Leo
Clark.
DeRocher.
Oh, Leo. Yeah. It's a good one there. That's a pull. So, all right. I think on that note, we can head out. So, after Leo DeRocher clears, appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. Good luck at the windows and good luck on your bets this week, guys. Hopefully, we all end up in the green and you end up in the green. We'll be back again next Thursday here on FingerLakes1.com, previewing and making our bets for the first round, the wild card weekend of the NFL playoffs. Have a great weekend, everybody.